everyone, welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in again. If you haven't already watched my previous video, it is my Vlogtober part 6 I believe, so I will link that, so do check that out because I'm really enjoying vlogging. I've really got into it by like pushing myself to put out loads of vlogs this month, so I hope you're enjoying them. I am learning, so do bear with me, and make sure you also check out my previous main channel video, which was all about body confidence. It's a body proud tag and I really just want to like spread awareness about that. But today, on a much like lighter note, I'll be doing the video I saw on Jack Howard's channel a couple of months ago, and it's just called My Favourite Films. I did originally write everything down in my YouTube notebook, but there was just too many films, so I've like condensed it down onto about 28, which isn't even everything, on this cue card, so I can try and just be, you know, quite direct with them, not ramble too much, because I'm very good at that and I've already been rambling for quite a while now. But yeah, they're not in any particular order, just like Jack Howard's one, just whatever came to mind, and I've definitely missed out some important stuff because sometimes I just can't remember the name of things. But yes, I'm just going to crack on, and you know, some of them are like really like good quality, like well thought out films. Some of them are just rom-coms that just remind me of like my friends or like growing up. I would say my childhood, but I feel like I'm still probably in my childhood, aren't I? I am 18. I haven't really... My childhood wasn't that far away, was it? So it just reminds me of a couple of years ago, let's say. So the first one is called Now Is Good, and please bear with me because I'm not very good with remembering names or actors or anything, but I believe Dakota Fanning's in this, and she's got leukemia, so she's dying, and she just decides to take matters into her own hands, and she's decided that she doesn't want to continue with treatment. She just wants to, you know, let her body just take its course naturally. And with that like premise, it is quite, you know, cold, hard truth, but it is quite playful as well, and there is a love story, and I thought it was quite real and raw and emotional. It wasn't that like cheesy in any way, shape or form, and I thought it was done really well, and it wasn't exactly how you'd prefer the story to go, but I feel like it's more real in that sense, and I really like that. The next film I really like is American Ultra. That came out, I believe, in September in this country. It's got Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart in it, and basically it's really weird. I don't even know how to describe it. It's one of those films like, I've only seen it in the cinema once, but I need to watch it again to make sense of it. But I knew as I was watching it that I absolutely loved it. And so Jesse Eisenberg, I can't remember the name of his character, is basically a spy, but he doesn't know it, and he's got capabilities of like these natural reflexes that have been trained into him, that he can just like kill people. Like, it's so cool. He kills, like, the first person he kills is like this dude with a spoon and pot noodle. Like, who thought they could be weapons? But he manages to kill these like hitmen assassins with just random stuff. And what I love about them, because he's obviously been trained by, I guess, the American intelligence system, and he doesn't understand or know, it's just like automatic, and then he freaks out that he's killed someone after. It's really funny, and it's just one of those fast-paced films, and it's quite humorous. It's kind of like a black comedy, I'd say, but I just loved it. I want there to be a second one. I loved it. I definitely have to buy it when it comes out. The next film I like is called Black or White, and I watched that in the early hours of this morning because I've been up since 2 AM because I couldn't sleep. So it's about this girl who's of mixed races, so she's half black, half white, and it's about this kind of custody case where her mum was on the white side of her family, and her mum passed away, and then her grandma passed away, so all she has is her granddad on that side, but she's always lived with them. And there's the other side, which is obviously the black side, and they are like American, and they are poorer, but then there's this kind of sense of the grandmother on that side, because her dad isn't really there, of this kind of custody battle, and it looks at, you know, the actual kind of implications of that just by itself, and then obviously with the two races it does kind of bring the question of race into it, and I feel like it dealt with it really well, and I thought it was well done and quite real and honest, so I liked that film quite a lot. I would definitely recommend it. And in the court case, Mr. Elliot, Anderson, I think his full name is. He says something really good in response. He was the white man, and he says something really good in response to black prejudice, which was quite interesting. So I tweeted about it, and I think I did a Facebook post on it, or just like quoted it, so I'll link that below. I really like that. Another film I like is Ashby. It has Nat Wolff in it and Emma Roberts. Those are like really the only two people, like actors I know who were in it, and I love Nat Wolff as an actor. I saw him in Stuck in Love, which is also on this list, so I do love that film as well, just putting it out there. But anyway, back to Ashby. It's really like, it's somewhat of a far-fetched like storyline, but they make it quite real, and I feel like Nat really acts it in such a genuine and authentic way. And like the ending, because there are like a couple of plot twists that I guess you could see coming but you didn't think would actually happen. Like I actually bawled. I never really cry in films, like I never cried at the Titanic and things like that, but I actually bawled, and I just got so emotional. It really just, you know, hit me. So yes, I would definitely recommend that film. Another film I really liked was 12 Years as a Slave. I mean, it's like one of the only times I've been to the cinema where it's like packed, and you could just feel like the emotion and the tension in the room. And I literally, like, I took about 4 people to go see it with me, and I literally had to like hand tissues out down the row in the cinema. I mean, it was so raw and visceral and real. And with stories that do cover like the slave trade, they have to go all out, or they're not really showing the true story. And it is based on Solomon Northup, a true story that he's written. It's a book that I'm still yet to finish reading, but it's amazing. It is quite, you know, realistic, so I think it was a 15, so it's not for like younger audiences, and I know like some adults will probably struggle to kind of cope or deal with like how real it is, but I feel like it can only have been done like justly if it was made as real as possible, if that makes any sense. So I mean, just like thinking about it now, I just feel like a lump in my throat and like some sort of heaviness in my chest. But even though it's so sad, it's so important that the story was shared. And I do love that the director was a black British director, and it just gave it, I think, a bit something different, like in terms of his view from it. It was just a bit more fresh. And Chitowell, I can't say his name properly. His name is Chitowell Ejiofor. My accent's probably terrible. I probably butchered that, but he was amazing. And Lupita Nyong'o was also amazing in that as well. Amazing. Like, it was really good, and the soundtrack just gets me emotional. I love listening to that. Very good. I mean, yeah, nothing more I can say to kind of tell you how amazing it is. The next film I really like is called Mummy, and I'm not sure if any of you have seen, but Adele released a new single called Home, because, you know, Adele's back now after about 4 years, and the director of that video, of that music video, actually directed Mummy. It's a Quebecan film, so some sort of Canadian French type film, and I watched it as a part of my course last year because obviously I did French, but it was really difficult to understand because it's a completely different type of French and it's a completely different culture, but it was amazing. I mean, I didn't really always understand it. There were subtitles, but oh, it really was gripping. And I really loved the way it was really well thought out. Like, if you've watched it, you'll understand. And like the way the screen was and things like that, it was just so well like edited and put together and thought out. It's just really well considered, and I loved it so much. So definitely something I recommend to anyone out there. Another film I like is Submarine, because I mean, I really love indie films, and Alex Turner did the soundtrack to that, so I feel like it just makes it even better. And the director was Richard Ayoade, so he's just amazing. I love his stuff. So that brings me on to The Double, which he also did with Jesse Eisenberg, and I love that film. Like, I love it so much. I based like my summer project for university on it, and oh, it's amazing. There's so much more I could have taken from it, but I love both films, and I really love The Double. It is based on a novella by Fedor, I can't say his name, I'll put it down here, it will come up, Dostoevsky or something, but yeah, amazing, really well done. Another film I really like is Flight, and that's got Denzel Washington in it, and basically he's a pilot and the plane crashes, and he does have an alcoholic problem, but I mean he's so used to substance abuse that he acts perfectly normal with it, but obviously because so many people died he had to be like tested, and it was a major case, and it was so well done, like, oh, it made me speechless, honestly. Such a good film. Another film I love is Moonrise Kingdom. I really love Wes Anderson's filming, all of his films basically. I haven't watched as many as I would have liked to. I really still need to watch Grand Budapest Hotel because that looks amazing. But yes, Wes Anderson films, like you can tell it's a Wes Anderson film. And in relation to that, I really like Les 400 coups, which is the 400 blows, which is a French film by Francois Truffaut, and that was made with the La Nouvelle Vague, which is the new wave in French cinema, which was a kind of, what's the term? It was a movement, a post-war cinematic movement, and I can see like so many like similarities between those two kind of directing styles. It was Francois Truffaut who did the French film Les 400 coups, and it's amazing to see how that's influenced Wes Anderson's films. Well, I just feel like I make that connection. I don't know if Wes Anderson has been inspired by them, but yeah, I really love Wes Anderson films, and like Fantastic Mr. Fox is also a great one that he's done as well. So yes, love Wes Anderson. Another film I love is called La Haine, which is hate in French, and that's also an amazing film. And my favourite part of it is just so this bit was kind of cut out of it, but I was saying this quote from the film La Haine, which was "Jusqu'ici tout va bien, ce n'est pas la chute, c'est l'atterrissage." That was just talking about how so far so good. It's not about the fall, it's about the landing. Hello everyone. Sorry if that just changed, like the whole frame. My memory card just filled up, so I had to delete some stuff. But as I was saying, La Haine kind of looks at the race riots that kind of happened in the suburbs of Paris. I want to say it's in the 90s, it might have been before then, but it's all filmed in black and white, and it's really lovely. I really do enjoy watching French films. It's just really well thought out and considered. And at first I really hated it, but as I watched it more and more, I did begin to appreciate it, and Vincent Cassel, so Vincent Cassel is in it, and it's really cool. I really like it. It's really good. Another film I really like is Inside Out. I thought that was such a good film. Like, the way that the people who wrote it must have thought about like the way we work. It's basically about the kind of control panel that's inside this little girl's mind of these 5 emotions. I think it's fear, disgust, sadness, joy and anger, and it's just so well considered. Like, it's aimed at children. I feel like as the adult you kind of understand it more. I watched it with my little brother and I got into it more than he did. He was telling me to calm down. I got really emotional. I really got into it, and I want there to be a part 2 because I thought it was amazing. Another film I really like is The Theory of Everything. I watched that this year. That was the first film I watched this year, and it was so good. Like, yeah, you should watch it. You really should. Eddie Redmayne's performance in that was amazing. Really good. I loved it so much. It's such a good film, and if you don't know, it follows the life of Stephen Hawking, and it's just, you know, it really puts loads of things into perspective, but it's inspiring and uplifting at the same time, and it does tell a story that, you know, is unfortunate, but just watching him turn his life around and you still power on, and he's such a trooper. It's just amazing. Really good. Another film I really like is Angus, Thongs and Perfect Snogging, and I feel like I've mentioned this loads of times. It's just like, it's an adaptation of the books by Louise Renanson, and it's your typical like rom-com. It's so like cheesy and like, I guess, cringy, but it's just what my life was like from like year 7, so like 11 to 16. I feel like my life's still like that now, but I know my sister, my brother, my mum, my dad, they're like tired of me watching it, and like every time they see me watching, they just get annoyed and they're just like, why Margaret? But I just love it. It's like my guilty pleasure and I don't care. I love it. It just reminds me of like secondary school, and I read the entire series. And for those of you who don't know, like reading is not my strong point and I'm really slow, but I read those books like they were nothing. So I really have like a strong connection to that like book and the entire kind of series. My next film that I really like is, it's complicated. It's got a Meryl Streep in it, and I really love the soundtrack to that. I feel like it's so good. I think most of it's by Hans Zimmer, and it just adds so much to it. It's a really cool like rom-com, and yeah, I really like it. Another film I really like is Riot Club, and I think that came out either this year or last year, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. I think it kind of looks at, I don't know if it's Cambridge or Oxford, I can't remember which one it is, and it looks at like the elite and like this exclusive like club, this boys gentlemen's club thing, and I feel like it's really good social commentary, and although the ending might like upset most people or not be the ending you want, it's just the reality of life, and I feel like you walk away from watching it like really considering things. I don't know how to put it, but it really like struck a chord with me, and the soundtrack to that was also amazing. Another film I really like is Kingsman. I haven't really touched on spy films, like I do like Mission Impossible and stuff, but I love Kingsman. It's so good. It's like modern day kick-ass spy movie, and it's got Colin Firth in it, and I love Colin Firth, he's so good. It's just amazing, and I love how British it is. I do really like British cinema, and I just love how British it is. It just makes me so happy. So I really love that. Like I love it watching that with my best friend Alini. It's really good. It is a bit cheeky as well, but I love it anyway. Another film I really like is We Need to Talk About Kevin. I've only watched it once. I think I will watch it again, but it was really creepy. And my sister had watched it before and she'd recommended it to me, and I literally kept pausing it like, Naomi, what is going to happen? Like, I'm scared. I just need you to tell me what's happening. But she never did, and like it's so captivating and there's so much suspense, and the way it's kind of like pieced together, you're just confused and it's all over the place, but it finally makes sense at the end. It is creepy. I don't think it's like horror per se, but I guess you could call it a thriller, and it's quite psychological, but yeah, oh my goodness, really like stuck with me. So yeah. On a lighter note, I really like Devil Wears Prada with Anne Hathaway. She's definitely one of my favourite actresses. I just really like it, you know, standard rom-com, and I love the soundtrack. I just love listening to the soundtrack, it's just great. Yeah. Another film I really liked was Before I Go to Sleep. And I think it's about this woman who has an accident and she can't remember, and it just, from the beginning you think you kind of have the whole story straight, but then like about 3/4 of the way through, like you're just like, oh my goodness, like plot twist. And it's gripping from the beginning, because obviously she has to like relearn her life every single day, so it's just like, how does she make progress and like remember things and stuff like that. But oh wow, I did not see that plot twist coming. For any of you who have watched it, you will know what I'm on about, but whoa. It was really well done though. I haven't really touched on comedy that much, but I do love good old comedies, and one really old school one is Bringing Down the House. I doubt it's that well known. It's got Queen Latifah and Steve Martin in it, and it's so funny. Like I will cry of laughter every single time I watch it, and like I brought it around to friends' houses and they've just cracked up as well. It's just so good. It's such a good like feel good movie, and I really enjoy it every single time. I always weep with laughter after watching it. And then the final kind of two I want to touch on are action kind of films. I really do like action films, even though I haven't touched on them that much, but they're not always my favourite. So the two I want to talk about is Transformers, and only the ones with Shia LaBeouf in. I didn't like the last one. To be fair, I didn't watch all of it, but it's just not right without Shia for me personally. And I've always loved Transformers. Like, I used to watch the cartoons, and I think it's so cool. I would love Transformers to actually be a thing. Like, the sound of, I just love Optimus Prime's voice, like, and Bumblebee is so cute. Yeah, I really love Transformers. Like, me and my friends, like, that is our thing. Like, we went to the cinema every time a new one came out, except for the fourth one obviously, but really, really good. Love those. And I really like the Amazing Spider-Man. So this is the one with Andrew Garfield and not the one with, I think it's Tobey Maguire. I did not like those Spider-Mans at all, never did, but I am a bit biased because I do like Andrew Garfield, but I just feel like he played it so well. And I know that he's British, but his accent was really good, and I really like the chemistry between him and Emma Stone, and I'm pretty sure they're dating, but you know, they like to keep it private and that's their business, and good for them. But I really, really like the Amazing Spider-Man. Like, number 2 got me really emotional at the end, the way it ended. It's probably not a spoiler because most people probably knew how it would end, but I'm not really, you know, with all the kind of superhero and like fantasy stuff, so I was shocked and really sad. But yes, number 3 is coming out at some point and I really can't wait. So yes, I've rambled enough. I think I've covered most films. I can always do an updated one of this. Do let me know if you liked this video, but I really like films. I really do enjoy films. Like, I guess if I wasn't interested in architecture, I might pursue films, and that's one of the reasons why I do YouTube. I obviously haven't put any films out there. I would definitely like to try and do some shorts or something, but yes, I do need a bit more help with that, and unfortunately I don't really have any really like techie or photography friends, but we'll see. Never say never. But yes, I love films so much and I'm really getting into it more. I've watched far too many films, too many to remember, but yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble too much, although I probably did. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!